Good morning, everyone. Let's call the meeting to order.
Good.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of Tuesday, March 21st, 2023?
You do?
I have a second.
Second.
Just a quick point from Doug here. I was excused last month for a medical appointment, but I will nonetheless vote in favor in a second on the minutes.
Thank you, Doug. All right, to all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, public comment. Do you have any public comment online or?
Online.
Okay, let's move on to action items. Utility related dispute utility billing fee waivers. That's what we have. All right, so the one that we have is for Lynn Brown. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Any discussion? Do
uh,
I have a motion?
can we discuss it before we go to motion, just to make sure that before we vote, everybody knows the whys? This is Doug. From my perspective, this is a situation where the customer, lost connectivity with her billing automatic situation when out on a cruise or whatever. And time went by and the billings were bounced because she did not have that digital connectivity. In my view, on the city side, everything was fine. The city didn't do anything in error. I think it's the responsibility of the customer to maintain their accounts, whether they're out on a cruise or don't have Wi-Fi or didn't pay for Wi-Fi. It's just the risk you take. I wouldn't want to go down the road of absorbing the costs for customers for whatever reason, even though it wasn't necessarily the fault of the customer paying for those. That would be my perspective on this.
Scott Hudson, I totally agree. It's your responsibility to have your accounts in order. And you should have some connectivity when you're on a cruise, in my opinion. But that, I would agree with you. It's something that we should not approve.
I'm going to play the devil's advocate, Doug, and it's not that I don't agree with what you're saying, but from another perspective, having been hacked myself in my bank accounts several years ago, it's really of no fault of the person that is being charged the $15 plus the $10. They were out of contact, so they couldn't have done anything about it. This account's been open 23 years and they have never missed a payment. It didn't cost the city one penny to really deal with this. I mean, Duncan dealt with it a couple of times, it sounds like, but he was proactive. He or she was proactive when they came back from their vacation. And we didn't have to treat any additional water or anything. There was really no waste. So I'm not sure that this is a problem that needs to be taken care of by assessing $77 in penalties. I think that this person has shown to have been responsible for their account for 23 years.
Well, as usual, Steve, you come in with a great counterpoint, and I basically agree with you. But I think there'd be a distinction between hacking, which is a huge problem, out of the blue, really is totally out of the customer's control. It sometimes takes quite a bit of time to get that straightened out, as opposed to going on a vacation, knowing you're not going to have connectivity. In the law, we call that assumption of risk. When my wife and I go out of town, we get all our automatic bill pays set up. We check on them. We know that there's always a possibility of something not happening. So basically, I'm agreeing with you maybe on the hacking situation. That's almost like a force majeure act of God. You just can't, it just happened. But when you voluntarily put yourself in a situation where that you've increased the risk of this of non-payment by not having connectivity, I think there's a substantive difference there.
Yeah, I agree. And I
think, pardon me, Scott.
go ahead. Well, I thought deeply about it. I went through the same kind of rationale, but then I thought everyone should have a contact. I know when I go away, I'm going to go to France for 3 weeks, this Saturday. And I've got contacts, I've got people, neighbor, everybody. So there is also my responsibility when I go away. It's just not that I'm off the universe. And that's where my responsibility, I think that there should have been more client responsibility there.
Well, if you went out of town or you're going out of town for 3 weeks.
Yep.
Does the person that you leave in charge have the ability to have authority
Absolutely.
over your bank accounts?
Absolutely.
So they could have called up and
Family.
set up a brand new credit card and everything?
Yes. And also
Okay.
would have arranged it. They would have actually paid it.
That's something I wouldn't do.
No, but they would have actually taken care of it. Even if I had to come back, they're taking care of me. They're covering my back when I'm off.
So
And
Okay.
sneak in here really quickly, I just do want to refocus that the point of the disputed utility billing fee waivers was set up to kind of be recourse for customers if they're billed in error because of something like a
Correct.
meter on the city's behalf, rather than auto payment issues.
Well, I was getting to that. So the next thing maybe we ought to consider is that we just say this isn't under our purview and say this is not something that we really feel like that should be part of the Public Works Committee. We are more we want to take care of what's going on with the water issues, but not with the billing and the accounting issues. And maybe just remove ourselves from that situation altogether and just say abstain.
Well, I think the problem with that might be, Steve, and I don't have it in front of me, but I believe the ordinance puts billing disputes in our lap if.
Yep.
customer has-
Yeah, that's go in front of a committee and this is.
Yeah.
Okay, so all billing
This
disputes,
is-
even,
Yeah, because he
Okay.
is putting this out as a billing dispute.
Right.
So-
right. And I
I think
think
Justice said it was intended for if there was a broken meter,
correct.
his fault. That's what this,
See, in a way, when I looked at it, Tess had a great point. If it's our error, yes, I can see that. But this was self-inflicted.
correct.
This is something that happened. I mean, don't go away for 2 or 3 weeks and not have any kind of contact to the world.
one thing that Lynn did do is call up Duncan on October 12th before
Yeah.
he or she left and make sure that their account was in order.
I was January.
I know Duncan called the customer,
Or there was some contact in October.
He called several locations to try to contact her,
Correct.
but she didn't get a hold of her until I
When
think
was that?
January.
I talked to Duncan yesterday and he said that he spoke with this person in October before the person left.
right, his note in the customer account says that he contacted Lynn to verify if their bank account was still active on October 5th, 2022.
Okay, October 5th.
Yeah,
Or
that's-
2022. So Duncan said just October 12th, this last October, there was some discussion. I spoke with Duncan yesterday about this.
Yeah, this is the customer now in our billing system, so this is the record that I have.
Good.
All right, any more discussion? Do I have a motion to approve or deny?
I guess motion is to deny, in my opinion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that. This is Doug.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay, I'm not in favor.
Okay.
All right. Motion has passed.
Steve, I didn't hear what you said. Did you abstain or did you vote no?
Yes, say.
Abstained? Okay,
I would have voted no, Doug.
okay.
I feel like this is what you said, a force majeure incident. I feel like this person has been responsible. There was no fees from any bank to the city. Like I say, it didn't cost them any money,
Yeah, okay,
nor did any water go into the treatment
Hmm.
facility. So,
okay. Thank you, Steve.
thank you.
Yeah, that's
All
good.
right.
Yeah. No problem.
Discussion and information of items, public works status.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we're waiting for some good weather to happen. As you can tell, it hasn't happened lately, but We're gonna be restriping the whole town. We're gonna do a whole town stripe.
Fun.
Once the weather, we gotta have several days of nice weather to make this happen. That work will be performed in the middle of the night. So you might see some vehicles out and about with some blowers and stuff like that in the middle of the night. But we're gonna get everything freshened up, parking stalls, do a whole town swoop. Also, we're waiting for the weather to get better to start all of our paving projects that we need to get done before July 1st. Initial letters have been sent out to the adjacent properties for everyone that's affected by the paving projects. Once we have kind of a set date, I'll be calling every single resident and giving them a heads up. This is when we're going to be in your neighborhood and make arrangements for vehicles to be moved at that time. We're still working on the Center Street beach access. That's another project, the beach access on Center Street. We need to get done before July 1st. We're working with state parks for the permit process, and our engineers are helping us with the initial permit. And then the water resiliency project, we're knee deep in looking at plans and figuring out where piping is going to go, tree protection, all that good stuff. So we're going to have another meeting next week with Windsor about that. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Questions?
Moving part.
Yeah, once the weather gets nice, it's going to get hectic.
Right.
But I'll do my best to keep all the affected parties informed.
So
Right.
the striping part, do you think that's gonna be a couple of nights, or do you think it's gonna?
It's the whole town swoop like this. It usually takes, 5 or 6 nights.
Okay,
Areas. And it's all weather dependent, we gotta have some nice weather to make this happen.
do we have a place to start, north or south, do we know?
It's up to the striper,
Okay.
leave it up to them.
Wherever he wants to start.
Once he's set up for center lines, he'll do the whole town,
Nice.
set up for parking stalls and handicap signs, so, that all go.
And Trevor, how long has it been since we've done that?
We kind of do half and half. We kind of just hit some, in years past, we just kind of hit areas that needed to get done. But it's time for a whole town swoop.
Great. Yeah, that's very nice.
It will be nice to have, yeah.
Yeah, let's do a
Where are
facial.
we at with painting parking stripes on, downtown Hemlock area, the parking?
Downtown Hemlock.
Well, downtown, we talked for maybe a couple of years about painting the parking stripes so that when people parked, it's.
Oh, that's been discussed several times in council, but no action's being told to me to take action on.
Unaware.
I think it's part of the TSP plan.
Correct.
Hmm.
I'm not a big fan of it because that's a lot of striping that would have to happen. And just that's another thing we'd have to maintain moving forward.
No, the payout is efficient parking down there.
Yeah.
Now, everybody's always complaining about the parking and so forth, but I understand that
For sure.
once you paint,
Correct.
it's a maintenance issue.
In several areas, we don't have stripes and we kind of just let the customers park at will. And I find that sometimes more cars can fit into those areas with it not being designated parking spots. Ones over here by the pullout before the S curves.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of cars can fit in there. If I was to legally stripe it, I don't think as many cars would be able to fit in there.
True. Yeah, I was just talking about
Shirley Park's another
the
one.
downtown area.
Yeah, but it's being discussed. If council wants me to take action at some point, I'll take action.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions for Trevor? No?
Not this morning.
Thank you for all the work. Good of the order?
Can I start just real quick?
Yeah.
This Saturday, we're having a street fair for Earth Day. 2nd Street in between Hemlock and Spruce. It starts at 11 p.m. and goes till, or 11 a.m.
I
till
was gonna say, well,
11 a.m. till 1 p.m. So please stop by if you guys,
Oh, very good.
gonna be some vendors out there and
I'll be on my way.
we have beach cleanup starting at 10 a.m. So that's the other thing.
Very nice.
I have a question. So when we were cleaning back there on Spruce, that those trails, there's apparently foundation, some kind of foundations back there. What is that?
I've heard a lot of stories on that, but Dan, do you know the,
I always tell people to talk to Kirk Anderson.
yeah,
He knows the history, I think, as well as anybody, and it's had several iterations and just talk to Kirk. He's at the recycling on the weekend and I think.
something to do with the forestry or something like that?
I've been told many different things.
No, the foundation was poured by volunteers.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a cool foundation.
I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. And
Up to the west of the trail up here.
Okay, what's the, I'll look for it.
Come off Spruce.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And
That's
go
what
on,
we were-
go to the left.
we're asking
Yeah.
On the west.
by you Because. of the
Hike back in the bushes.
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
why I needed to, I mean, I needed to answer, at least give them an idea and say, instead of telling them to go talk to her.
I was, yeah, just tell him to talk to Kirk on the line.
Well, if you can get me maybe a little bit more information
Sure.
at some point, I don't really want to refer people to the park. Or, it just doesn't seem like it would be fair.
Right, Kirk has tribal knowledge, yes.
Yeah, plus he has work to do, so I would hate to take that.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Away that from his time,
Maybe a lot of people, the mayor, he's got a long history of it, so
yeah,
he's
so
got very good knowledge.
you can just get a little, what's up with that? And, you can maybe put it out and people can know how it is. Okay, anything else from anyone? No? Thank you for being here. We'll see you in a month unless something else happens. Take care.
Thank you.